Alright, here is a video review of an assortment of B2FIVE toys. They are from the Acid Rain universe. If you've seen, I know I first saw Acid Rain stuff at TFCon in Toronto, it's a really cool like G.I. Joe scaled pilot and mech infantry line, and it was really cool. I remember they had the Stronghold. I think it was the Sand Stronghold was the first one I remember seeing. Although I think they may have had two colorways of it there. And in the box, they had a touch me and feel the texture, and it had a real gritty texture, and it was, this big square hunk of a tank. And I remember feeling it, and like that TFCon, I actually had money to buy a few of them, and I almost did. My problem was not money; it was just I was in Toronto and I flew, and there was just no way to get them home. I had no room in my luggage, and I passed, and then I just never got around to picking them up. These are the B2.5 figures, or B2FIVE, and they're 2.5-inch scale figures, so they're smaller than G.I. Joe, and they're smaller. These feel a little bit more toyetic, for lack of a better word. Like, they're not as expensive, but they're also not quite as like that premium feel that with the texture and everything. Like, these have a nice texture to them. It's good solid plastic, but it doesn't have that gritty textured feel, and they're smaller than the larger ones. Like the original Strongholds would be like the cube about this big. We've got 3 different teams here. I thought about doing all of these as individual reviews, which would give me like a week's worth of content right off the bat. But the way they work, and once I started playing with them, I realized I kind of had to do them all together in one view, which one means you only have to watch one video, and 2, it really shows off just how these work. So we've got the K6 Jungle team over here with their Mark I speeder and their version of the Stronghold, which you see is green and has these little kind of chain guns up on the head. Well, and we'll show off all the individual articulation. We've got the R711 team here, which has the blue and kind of butterscotchy color scheme. They have the Laurel, which is this smaller mech here, and then their Mark I speeder. They did some Mark II speeders, I know, in the larger line, where the speeder actually turned into more of a mech suit with arms and legs. These are more like little walkers, which, again, we'll show off. And then we've got the Marine Sieger colorway, which I think is my favorite color scheme of these, although I want to give him arms that have actual hands on them, as well as maybe some other cannons. But regardless, that's something that's possible. But I like his little bandana type head, and just the overall color with the tan and the red and the orange just really works. I know it's got orange on it, big surprise. So the speeders in their smaller mode, and we'll get to the individual figures, just they roll. That's about they have a little Gatling gun on a ball joint down here, and they roll. And again, we'll show those off in just a second. Everybody comes with a small gun. In the case of the speeders, and this guy, I guess I could throw his in with his cockpit, comes with a small pistol. The Marine figure comes with more of a rifle there. And the pilot for the Laurel actually does come with a pistol, but his can clip in on the back here and store on the back of the mech itself, which again we'll get to in a minute. So the Laurel is disposable, and we'll show off its joints. The Strongholds, before we start flipping everything around, like their tanks, the treads don't work. They don't have wheels, but they do have a little tab that pulls out. They both have it, since it's essentially the same mold. And you can hook them together and tow them. And I know, again, in the larger version of the line, they had a vehicle, like a troop vehicle, that was designed to tow these things into battle. Now, I don't know if these teams work together very well, but you can kind of make it a little train of tanks, which is cool, at least for right now. They did show off a Hades today. It looks like he may have a transport of some sort that will attach and pull some of these Strongholds and other vehicles. What's also neat is the speeders in all the modes have little clips on the bottom. So let's just use the jungle guys together. So if you need to transport him to battle, like either one, you can either take this guy out, have him walk on foot, and have this be like an extra transport in case this guy needs to get away, or you can just kind of transport a dude in, but they clip onto the back, so you can actually have a tank. I don't know. I don't think this comes out enough to actually there might be enough space there to actually have a speeder on the back in a chain of tanks. I don't know. I don't know if there's enough clearance there, but yeah, so you can do that. Let's try it. Let's put the... No, not enough clearance. Oh well. Worth checking out. So I'll focus on the speeders first. And again, like the individual dudes are different color schemes and different helmets. But the speeders themselves, the wheels do roll, and they're just cool little buggies, a little collapsed, but just little light attack mechs. And I say mech because the you unpeg the wheels back here, flip the legs down and around. And again, maybe in like a swamp territory or a jungle, obviously a jungle territory or something. Then there's a little tab here that will lock the wheels and keep them from rolling when you flip the toe all the way down. But you get some little legs down, and then it turns into like a small walker that the pilot can then kind of clomp around on. Just a little bit more mobility in places where wheels won't work, and we can step through brush or marsh or something. Again, I'm using the jungle motif here. And this is the same one on this one. You just flip it down. And he's got his own little walker as well. And you can position the legs however you want. You can have it be more of a squat kind of frog thing. I don't know if they have jumping capabilities, but like a squatter mech or a taller mech. See up over some brush. The little canopy piece opens up, and you can see the little figure comes off. We'll go ahead and unclip him. You can actually clip them on. I like to slide them down just to avoid too much pressure cracking the fingers off. That's mostly because I've had some Legos do that, but they are capable of just clipping on like that as well. But the little figures are nicely painted, and like I said, 2.5 inches tall, and have 21 points of articulation. So you've got a ball joint up here at the neck. You've got a swivel up here at the shoulder, a swivel just below that joint, the hinge here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A hinge there, 8, 9. Wrist swivel, so that's 10, 11. You've got a waist swivel above the waist, as well as an ab crunch. So that's 12, 13. 14, 15 at the hip, 16, 17 at the thigh swivel, 18, 19 at the knee, and then 20 and 21 ball joint feet. So for such tiny little dudes, they're actually remarkably posable. And again, with the ball joint feet, it can take a little bit of work to get them to stand, but they're pretty sturdy once you get them up. And again, they can hold their pistols as well. And then just to give you, so he's got kind of like the gas mask and some white eyes. Looks almost kind of like a Hellboy character. Whereas this guy has, go ahead and pop him off his speeder. Similar tech vest with different paint on it. You'll see a lot of them share mold pieces, and they're more differentiated by the paint details. But you see he's got a different helmet with a visor. Almost kind of looks like Miles Mayhem. Anyway. But the same articulation, the flak vest. None of it, you could probably, the ball joints do pop off. You might be able to pull them apart and pull one of these vests off, but I'm not going to do it on camera, at least. I'm not going to do it on camera until I've tried it off camera to confirm it, but also super posable and can hold. He comes with this little pistol as well. They almost kind of feel, again, especially with the mechs, they feel slightly reminiscent of Exo Squad, which God, I have Phaeton, JT Marsh, Wolf Bronsky, and General. See, Phaeton and one of the other Neo Sapien guys. I have their exo suits up on my top shelf in the computer room in the office. Like I said, and that's pretty much it for the speeders. They stand up like that, then you just fold this foot piece up, flip it around, and then pegs back on. Very simple transformations. Like I saw the larger acid rain stuff, but I never actually played with one, so I don't know how much more or less involved the transformations and all these. Again, they may have done a Speeder Mark 1 in the larger size line. I know they did a Speeder Mark 2 because instead of just having the legs, it came up, the pilot sat more vertically in the canopy area when it was standing up, and it had some arms that came out. It looked more like a car, like a small car, than these little chibi speeders here. They also did some, like, there's a sand colorway. I think the only one that I'm aware of currently that has both this, the Laurel, and the Stronghold in all the same color scheme is the Sand team. Jungle, as far as I know, just currently has... You can get a Jungle Soldier set, like it's a set of three, just the three different little figures. But right now, I think Sand has the Speeder, the Laurel, and the Stronghold. Jungle has the Speeder and the Stronghold. Laurel has the Speeder, or R711 has the Speeder and the and the Laurel, and then the Marine Siegers just have the Stronghold so far, this color scheme. There was a stealth color scheme that they released at San Diego Comic-Con, and I really need to hunt that one down because it's basically this mold with the cool little bandolier, but it actually had the Jungle's arms. It had the actual hands versus these pile drivers, which we'll see in a minute, and also was kind of a neat little color scheme. Moving on to the Laurel. You can see it's a small piloted mech. Let me refocus on this just to make sure we're getting decent shots. It does have this little chain gun, which is on a mounted armature. You can unpeg that. This is a little rubber. This comes as a separate piece. You pull this cap off, and then pull the rubber tab out. So you don't have to use the ammo chain if you just want to have the cannon attached. And again, that can come off if you don't want that. He's got the heavier cannon down here. His fingers are articulated, and then you can let go of that. And then it actually does, the hands have little tabs inside them, and this has a slot so you can tab it into the hands of different weapons. It does have the blue and butterscotch canister in it. And this swivels to make it pose, like you said, you can dual hand it. And then, like I said, the arms, they're thinner arms. He's got, the mech itself has the armature. It's got a pivot point here, and where the gun attaches up here, if you wish. It does have a waist swivel. It's got hip swivel, or ball joint hips, thigh swivel, hinge knees to about 90 degrees. The foot has some side-to-side tilt, as well as a little bit of front and back, not much. And then the toe has some articulation as well there on the toes. Dual shoulders, bicep swivel, dual hinge elbows, wrist swivel, as well as some up and down motion in the wrist, which is what allows him to hold that gun really well when walking around. And just like everything else, you open up this, pull this down, and you can see there's another little unit hiding in there. He's got more of a chappy type head. I just popped his head off. But you see, you have to turn his feet sideways to get him to fit in there. At least that's the only way I've been able to do it so far. But he sits in. He's got a fully sculpted seat in there with some little pegs to hang on to. And you just close that up. And there he is with his Laurel. Again, all the same articulation, just a different helmet and some different paint to differentiate this soldier. And now we get to the Strongholds, which are some of my favorite little ones. One, like I said, they're boxy little tanks, piloted mech tanks. They have their heads / turrets can turn. The centerpiece here lifts up so you can see the pilot inside. You can see he's kind of got the chappy head, but with a red dot on it. He also has these little posable cannons. And again, the treads don't work, but that's about it for posability here in his tank mode. You can lift his bandana up, but it does block this from opening. We'll show off some more of some of those features later. But again, each one of them, if you open them up, I'm just going to show these guys off. I'm not going to pull them out since they have the same articulation as all the other figures. You can see he's got more of a visor mask with a gas mask on the lower half, and he's got, like I said, the squarish helmet with the red little jungle K6 jungle dot on it. And how these work is you come down here, so you take these panels, pop these off, and again, I don't know if this is more or less complex than the larger ones, but you untab everything under here. They tab in here and up here on the front. Bring these down and forward. This whole assembly pops up like that. Flip these down to form the feet. You can flip these, allow for some extra movement in the legs So they flip to allow for articulation. So you stand them up like that. Then up here, I want to come out here, flip these panels up. Oh, this one, I guess I forgot to flip that one down, but these little panels on each side flip up. Bring the arms out, bring them down, bend them at the elbow, flip up. What will be the hands, slide this forward. In this case, he's got some little battering ram type spikes on his arms. Flip this up, and the same there. There he is in his mech mode, and again, here he is with the Laurel, just to give you an idea of how much larger these guys are. Or, and even with the, I'm not going to do this all the way down and around, but just to give you an idea of, with the speeder. And then it's the same with this guy. Untab the legs, bring them down, untab them from the front here. Pull the whole assembly down, snap it into place, close that back up. No, why is your head? Oh no! The heads are on ball joints, and the heads do like to pop off. Outside of that, they're pretty sturdy. No, you gotta get your head back in. There we go. So flip his feet up. Bring the arms out. Flip the panels up. Bring him down, flip up his hands, and he's just got like some machine gun type weapons or maybe rocket launchers. The sand version actually looks like it has an actual spring launching missile gimmick. It's got pods. It has no hands. It's got like two little circles on the front of this pod, and it shoots spring loaded missiles. You can check them out. I think it's B2FIVE.com. I think it's just the website. I'll get that in the video description down there on the bottom. Yeah, so you can see he's got articulated fingers. He's got a ball joint at the thumb, and then a single index finger with a joint here and up here. And then the secondary fingers are one solid piece with individually articulated fingertips. And posability in their mech mode, like the head still turns. Like I said, the cans can go up and down. They got rotational joints and angle, and you can hear that ratchet at the shoulder. Swivel at the bicep, hinged elbows. There's a little bit of rotational joint here, but you don't get a whole lot because enough to get some decent posing, but a lot of times it'll bump up against whatever pod is under here unless you fold it back, and then you can get a little bit extra motion out of it. A hinge there at the wrist swivel, and then, like I said, the aforementioned fingers. He lacks the fingers because he's just got these solid piece battering rams, which again is kind of why I want to get the stealth set so I can swap out some actual hands onto this guy, because I love this dude. I just love the look of him. I love the layout of his colors here in his mech mode, and there's just a lot I like about him. Now, here's where we get to why I wanted to do this all together, because you'll see all of the larger pieces come with these pieces right here, which come off. That's just where I was storing them. So there's his, and then the Laurel mech, I just had him stored here on the side of his back. So how this works is you can see there's these small connector holes on all of these mechs, as well as some like where the holes about this size. And how this works is you can use these posts and you can mix and match. Aside from one, like I said, you can show it off on Jungle. So you can snap the speeder to the back. It can stay on in both tank or mech mode. He has holes right here, so you can attach these connectors into the speeder. And then, let's say you want him to have, you want him to be able to run, shoot some guns, and also maybe batter the crap out of whatever he comes into. So you just come over here, pop this dude's arms off, and you'll notice those posts are just about the same size as these holes. So you just snap them on up here, and now you've got Mecha Shiva, who's going to go wreck some stuff. But oh no! Now he is without any sort of grasping mechanism. So, just pop this off. Now he's at least stolen some arms again. But then, oh no, this guy has gotten blown in half. And so did this guy. So now, if you want, there's two holes, one in the front and one in the middle. So now he's at least managed to recover his torso. This guy just wants to get out of the battle, finds these legs on the ground, and now he's getting out of here. And this guy, but he lost his gun in the process. This guy's like, I'm wrecking stuff and taking names, and I want more armor. So he can come up here. You plug, I mean, again, you can use any of the holes, but plug this in. Actually, this side has screws in it, and so it's a little harder to get it in. You can still do it, but we'll just do it this way. And then you just take this. Maybe you don't need the armature. You just throw that away. Reattach the gun belt so it's got enough ammo to shoot the things. And then attach this onto his arm. And now this guy is just somebody you really don't want to mess with. And then, oh, look at this. This one actually doesn't peg in, but you can have him hold it in his hand if you want. Because he also has that same, just about the right level, the same tab in his hand. So you can just plug that in. And now he's got just all the stuff you really don't want the mech that you're facing off against to have. And there's more. You could take, like you want to give him, there's a couple posts right here. Plug these in. And, well, now this guy's just running away because that's all he can do against the six-armed menace. Get that in there all the way. And these joints are, again, the clips on these things, especially when we start putting leverage on them, are not super strong, but the joints themselves ratchet. There's teeth inside there. You can see there's teeth inside, grooves inside that joint. And then there's little tabs on the arms themselves. So yeah, now there's just a six-armed, really angry jungle mech coming at you with all the guns and battering rams and just a bunch of stuff you don't want to mess with. And they've shown off, this is just with what I've got here. They've shown off a combination of two of the Marine Strongholds together, where he's got some tread armor coming up the front. This is just basic reconfiguration of just adding arms to what is already essentially there. But I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff on the B2FIVE webpage. Every week they feature here's something else you can do when you combine these things, and it's really pretty genius. And I don't think the original Acid Rain, the larger stuff, had this type of connectability system. I could be wrong, because like I said, I never actually owned them. These guys, however, are super duper fun, and I always wanted a Stronghold. I thought that mech looked really cool. It was just a really neat idea, and I wanted one of the Mark II speeders, which again aren't in this size class yet. But now that they're making them, one, a little bit, the interconnectability is super awesome. I've put these arms on the wrong hand. Whatever. It's left and right are swapped. Some neat color schemes. They're a lot less expensive than buying the giant ones. I like him as just a little gonk droid here, running from the six-armed menace, which is what I'm calling him now. This is now the six-armed menace here. I could have done that. I don't know why I went. I do know I went with the jungle because he had the green speeder and it matched. But I have done something very similar to this with the Marine Sieger mode. So yeah, this is just a really neat little set of toys. And now I need to get more of them. Now I need to get. I kind of want to try out the missile launching gimmick of the Sand set, which I think is only available. I think the only way to get the Stronghold from the Sand set is buying it in a set with the speeder and the Laurel, and maybe the speeder and the Laurel. I'll have to look at the shop because I feel like that's how it was presented, but I could be wrong. But And then, like, I need to find a way to get my hands on the San Diego Comic-Con stealth versions are sold out on their website. I've seen them on eBay, and it's just a matter of do I want to spend the money to pay for those on eBay for the stealth set. Go ahead and give this dude his arms back. Let's give everybody their arms back just to wrap this up. But a really fun little set of toys. I'm super impressed. Like I said, it was something that I've been interested in a while. And finally getting to check out in a smaller scale. It honestly kind of makes me want to go and get some of the larger scale stuff as well. But or at least a larger scale Stronghold. I don't know if I ever find out that they did, and don't tell me. I feel like there's a Google search coming up here shortly that is going to bankrupt me. But if they ever did, if they did a full size version of the Marine Mech, there may be one of those coming to me soon. I like having the Marine Mech, just adding that thing. And one of the other things you can do one of the modes I didn't show off is that you can have these guys like halfway transform, like Gear Tank. If you want to have them with their arms out, you can still fold up their treads. I'm not going to peg everything in. I'm just going to do it real quick and dirty here to show you. But you can have them. I guess it's going to make me tab everything in, or it's not going to work for me. So this is real quick and dirty. So you can have them down here with their tank treads and their arms, which is also kind of neat. But yeah, there is several figures. We got the Laurel and the Speeder, the Jungle Speeder and the Jungle Stronghold, the Marine Sieger Stronghold, as well as like the individual soldiers here. It's a neat play pattern of the interconnectability. I like the representation at all different scales. If you want to grab, you could have a small scale battle with just some soldiers, and you can get some soldier sets. Maybe they upgrade to mechs. Maybe they've got some smaller speeders, and it's a skirmish. Maybe they brought in the heavy guns, and it's an all-out war with some strongholds fighting. And then, like I said, they just showed off a grayscale prototype of this insane-looking thing called Hades, and as well as another kind of smaller mech that was in the picture, but it's looking pretty cool. These guys are a lot of fun. I almost kind of want to buy like 8 more Marine Siegers just to have like a whole army of them as well. Anyway, or at least another Laurel to give them matching guns. But a lot of fun, a lot of cool stuff from B2FIVE, and I'm glad I finally got to check these out. These are a lot of fun.